I'm Shaun Reynolds.
And I'm Rachel Reynolds.
And welcome to What Was I Made For?
The podcast about doing what you love and prioritising your happiness.
While we aim to inspire, motivate and entertain you, please note that we're not licensed therapists or certified experts.
So if you're considering major life decisions like starting a travelling circus or quitting your job to become a professional beekeeper, maybe get a second opinion.
Enjoy the show.
See, I just do what I want, do what I love. I don't wanna stop, don't wanna grow up. Just me being me, don't follow the crowd. Don't be a sheep, look at me now. But now it's time to make more, create more. Looking at the points, cause it's time to take score. Feeling like I'm grown now that I can face more. Got one question, what was I made for?
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. Happy Wednesday to you all once more.
We hope that you've missed us. We're sure that you have.
Yeah, apologies for missing last week. I'm sure, well, we've been told that there was a few people that were very disappointed about that, and we can only apologise.
I was like, is anyone even going to notice? And then people came up to me in classes and were literally, Sandra, I'm sorry. She came up to me, she put her hands on my shoulders, and I was like, oh no, what have I done? She went, what was I made for?
Yeah, we got a few messages as well, which, I'll
take the blame.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll take the blame. Boring. Everyone's probably like, bore off, we've had enough about it. But this winter lurgy thing that I've had, I'm on week 5 now,
Still going
I think.
strong.
I'm on the antibiotics now. So let's hope it's going to kick it where it hurts.
Let's hope so.
Get rid of it once and for all. So my voice is still suffering a little bit, but hopefully I can last 45 minutes.
Yeah, and we even had to cancel a guest who we had booked in. I'm not actually going to reveal who it was,
no,
because we'll get them
back
back on for probably with the schedule, probably next season now. Yeah. But it would have been a really, really funny episode with them. So we'll get them back on, and apologies to them for cancelling as well.
But we are back. So we hope that you've all been well and you've missed us. And let's crack straight on with Inspiry Diaries.
Inspiry Diaries. Go for it.
Me? Okay, I've got 2. Hopefully I don't steal one of yours.
Or maybe I don't need to. Maybe I need to have one.
One we did together. So just quickly, the Wicked movie. Oh my god, it's so good.
I've never seen Rach more engrossed in a film ever. You actually struggle with movies.
Yeah, I do. I'm not a movie gal.
I could look over and Rach is asleep 10 minutes into a film unless she is fully hooked.
Not in the cinema though. How?
Yeah, true.
I'm interested to know if anyone else is like this. If we plan to watch a movie, which is once in a blue moon, at home, you get annoyed if I'm not like sat bolt upright. I'm not allowed a blanket.
Yeah, because if you sit like Rachel basically lie down like she's going to bed. She'll have a pillow like this. She'll be laid on the sofa, and I'm like, well, obviously you're just going to drift off to sleep. You got like, I sit when I'm watching a film and I know I want to sit up for the whole thing. I'm like,
yeah, that's not fun. And I
bolt
think
upright watching the film, because otherwise you just get too comfy.
Yeah, and I do the, you know, when you're like, my eyes are open. And they're not, or you do.
And I'll be like, no, I'll react to something, and I'll be like, oh God, look at what do you think of that? And I'll look over at you, and you've gone, yeah. Oh, what?
I have to like pretend I know what is going on and who these characters are.
Or if I laugh at something, you'll be like, just pretend.
Have you ever watched somebody fall asleep watching telly? It's the funniest thing ever. When their eyes like roll into the back of their head and they think.
Although that is such a nice feeling though, isn't it?
It is.
Drifting off in front of the telly.
Or do you ever do the one eye closed? You try and trick yourself like, well, I'm half asleep.
Let me just put the right half to sleep.
But at the cinema, hold on. Can I just do a little mini like unpopular opinion?
Unpopular. Go for it.
I don't like everyman cinemas.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But we've got a lot of fans. We know a lot of fans of everyman cinemas.
Oh my! Everyone loves an everyman. Right, I'm just going to tell you now why.
It's like sitting in a farty living room.
Right, this is why they suck. Eating in the dark. What is that all about? okay, I'm not going to order food because I don't want to eat in the dark. Now I have to watch everyone walk past and block the screen while they deliver everyone else's food. I'm sitting in years and years of fart that people have put into these sofas.
Well, no, because you could argue the same with cinema seats.
Doesn't feel
they
the same.
just feel a bit more aerated, don't
yeah,
they?
They do.
They feel like they've got some filtering going on. Whereas I'm sitting on a sofa, a worn out sofa, and that's why they call it Everyman, because you've had every man's arse on it.
Literally, yeah. 4, too comfortable. So I did nearly fall asleep when we went to see
5,
something there.
no pick and mix, just a little pot of sweets for about 10 quid.
What else can I think of?
They're really nice and modern on the outside. Like the bar area is really nice.
I do like the bar area.
If I had a beer though, when I went to see a film, I'd be asleep. I would be asleep.
It's just, I'm sorry, I don't get the hype. Don't like it. So we went to see Wicked in our Cineworld in Crawley, and oh my God,
IMAX, baby. And also, every man's screens are too small.
Was it an IMAX?
Yeah.
Yeah,
IMAX
every man's
screen, yeah.
way too small as well. So I found myself every now and again, like as soon as it started, I was in. And then I like kept having an out of body experience where I was like looking at myself and I was literally just beaming like this the whole time.
And it was so funny about the opening sequence. There was straight away a bit that some of the agency kids auditioned for. So you see.
Oh my God, yeah, the self tapes that the agency kids had to do. The kids in there,
yeah,
it was the same lines.
In the first bit.
Straight away. I was like, oh my God, that could have been blah, blah, blah. Should have been, actually. Anyway, so it was just everything that I wanted it to be. Wicked is one of my favourite musicals.
First musical I ever saw.
Yeah, got you into musical theatre. Every song is a hit. It was just...
And we'd already spoken to Ashley Gray on the podcast, so like it was quite a nice thing to then see that and think about like, her being on stage doing it.
Yeah, I loved it. I wish I was one of those people that can be really like articulate and like clever. See?
What are you talking about?
The irony then that I could
what, in how you can describe
a better word than clever. You know,
on
some
how you can describe a movie.
Yeah, like I wish I could sit here and be like, oh, and Cynthia's portrayal of the backstory of... Nah, I just liked it. I just really liked it. It was good.
No, because the vocal performances were insane.
Yeah.
The choreography and the way they've put each of the numbers...
Oh, yeah, the choreo was good.
Because the stage show is so good. Like, the stage show like the back of your hand. You've seen it so many times. So to see it, like how they were going to do that on a movie scale... Yeah. The crazy thing is, I think most of the fans, probably around 99% of the Wicked fans, approve, and that never happens.
Yeah, that's true. And the surprise that I won't say because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, like the big thing that went viral. And I was lucky enough, even though we saw it quite late, really. I was lucky enough. I did avoid the spoiler. So when that happened, I grabbed your hand.
You did,
I?
yeah. You
and
were like,
both of us were like, oh my God.
You were giddy.
Yeah, it was just brilliant. I don't often go to the cinema. I don't often watch films, but I absolutely loved it, and I now want to go back and see it on stage again. That's number 1. Do you want to do one to intersperse mine?
Well, we want to talk about the t-shirt you're wearing. That's kind of yours. Part of mine too.
Go on, then you
because
talk and I'll display.
I was show the front. Can you see that? And then show the back. Yeah, so for the past, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, at the summer showcase last year, we had a young lady called Lois on the podcast.
Lois Taylor.
Talking about the show and all the numbers she was going to be in, and she was with another one of her classmates called Jamila, and we were all talking about how Lois's artwork is really cool. And I think it was actually Jamila that made the suggestion she should design something for the next, like a Rachel Reynolds piece of merch. And we were like, we should do some graphic tees. And here they are. I
think your wording was, well, you design it, Lo, and we'll make it.
Yeah.
And she went, all right.
Yeah.
And here they are.
Yeah. So I think it was like, she's used some like, what are they called? Like oil pencils?
I actually don't. No, she'll be screaming at the TV right now because she watches this every week.
Yeah, it's definitely like illustration, like pencil sort of.
But have you explained like what this? So this is.
Yeah, so that's like a floral design in the front with a sort of remake of the Rachel Reynolds logo. You won't be able to see that.
Why?
Oh no, maybe they will. A remake of the Rachel Reynolds logo, the emblem, and on the back it's a sort of remake on the dancer that's in the text logo of the Rachel Reynolds logo, sort of around some like a floral design.
I think the most exciting bit was, bless her, she was so nervous, wasn't she?
Well, it did take us a while to get them in production because we wanted. Well, I don't know if anyone out there knows this is very boring, but if you buy a white T-shirt, like if you cut costs on the T-shirts, they're see-through and they're also like not a good fit. So we wanted to make sure that if we're doing this for Lois, we wanted to make sure that when we get the T-shirts, really high quality, you can't put your hand in there and see through it, and the design really stands out. So I think we've done that job. But that's what took us so long to order the samples and test it out, and I think they've turned out really, really nice. And the design, even though it's done with clearly pencils, looks so nice. But
we decided to do like Lois is quite into her. Some of the fashion brands she likes are very well known for doing limited drops.
Oh, so yeah. I think that's quite big these days, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think it's trying to steer away from fast fashion, actually, which is good. Surely that's what they're doing.
I think it's just because they don't want to buy too much stock.
Oh, do you think? Well, anyway, so
I think that's what it is to prevent wastage.
Yeah, exactly. So the kids these days.
All right, Grandma.
They they find out on social media when the next drop is happening, and they sit there.
It's like tickets for a concert.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we said to Lo, we were like, well, let's do something similar. Like, it's probably a good idea as well, because we don't know, in the current climate, how many people are going to have the money to get one of these. So we did a limited drop of 25 T-shirts. And Lo, bless her, before they went live, she went, what if no one buys them? And I was like,
yeah, and then we're thinking, actually.
Yeah. Oh, and also we completely missed the whole thing, which is this is our second Reggie Foundation product.
Yeah. So we're not making any money off these.
No, so every penny that we make, once we've paid everything that goes into it, all the profits go towards the Reggie Foundation.
Yep.
So we obviously did really want to sell all 25 so we could donate as much as possible to charity. So I was like, well, don't worry. I'm sure they will. And I was thinking, I do think some will sell.
Oh, yeah.
I think it could be a product we have on the website, for a while.
Yeah, and maybe from now till the lead up till Christmas, people will eventually buy them all.
Yeah, and then we'll sell a few more at the show or whatever.
Yeah.
We have 2 left.
I know.
And they all sold over the weekend. So they went live on Friday.
Yeah,
and we have 2
if you're listening to this and you have a younger person who would want one, because the extra small is left, and they're not that small, to be honest.
No, I would say
they would still be fairly
probably
oversized.
I would say that's like a lady's size 6 if it was worn fitted. So this currently is
a small.
I think this is a small. So it's 2 sizes down from this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't believe there's 2 left.
I know.
She's over the moon.
So
and
by the time this goes out, there might not be 2 left.
Yeah.
But if you hear this podcast and you're like, actually, I'm going to pick up one of those last 2, then get on the website ASAP and see if you can grab one.
Definitely. And watch this space, because there's a lot of people who are badgering me to do a pre-order of more.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, Lo has already delivered on a second design, which she wants to do some crew neck like sweatshirts.
Okay.
So who knows?
Okay, amazing.
That could be around the corner.
Love it. So yeah, very, very inspiring. Wicked and Lois Taylor.
The perfect combo.
Yeah, of course. From Lucy Spurgeon, how do you get and stay inspired?
Oh, God.
What?
It's like a constant battle through life, I think. I go through real peaks and troughs with inspiration, and I could go... I think so. I follow Mr. Hudson. Do you remember Mr. Hudson? Mm-hmm. He also follows me through my content on TikTok.
Oh, name drop.
Shout out.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Hudson, and he always gives these tips on how to stay inspired, and he sort of validated my sort of the way my brain works, because as a music producer, it's quite similar. Like, you could sometimes be sat at your amazing studio set up with all your keyboards and your speakers and everything's like ready to go, and then just have nothing in your head. And he said, you kind of sometimes have to just take yourself off and do something else. And then it's usually doing the things that are a bit more mundane and not creative that then spark that creative idea. So as long as you're keeping busy, one thing he said you shouldn't do, which I do all the time, is just like, oh, well, I'll just go and sit and watch a film or something like that, and then hope something comes. But if your mind's distracted and engrossed in something like a film or a TV show, then you're not gonna do.
Would you
you're not gonna
not
have a creative spark.
If you were to like sit and watch a film though, because this is what I was thinking in answer to that question, was I always seem to find inspiration when I'm not looking for it.
Yeah, so I think that's what I mean by doing like the mundane tasks.
Right, okay. But like if you went and watched a film, for example, would you not listen to like the score and suddenly be like, or do you mean
not
you totally
usually?
switch off?
I don't think films have ever inspired me on a musical level.
Right.
No, maybe if it was like Fast and the Furious, something with like more of a pop soundtrack, but not like if I'm watching like a Marvel movie, which is all just orchestral stuff. That's not really the music I make.
Right.
So yeah, I mean maybe that could work for some people.
I think inspiration is a subconscious thing. I actually don't think you can go out and find it. I think that's quite stressful actually. So when it comes to like my career and Lucy's as well, as she asked the question, I think sometimes, like at the moment, we're all in talks about our concepts and our routines for the next show. And
I'm so excited about that.
So excited. But we had a team meeting last week and we were all trying to like sort of throw ideas around. But I know that's not how the ideas are probably going to be born, because it will be...
And they will chop and change.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will be something that each of us as teachers see, whether that's mundane scrolling through TikTok and you suddenly hit a dance group that have like done a formation that maybe you'd never would think about, and you go, I'm quite strict with myself that I won't copy. I don't know if you feel this with music, but if I'm inspired by something, I have to make it my own.
Oh yeah, you can't just flat out copy it because it's not authentic.
So for example, a couple of years ago, one of my routines in the show started with like a triangle formation where there was loads of cannons, and I saw something similar to that I loved, but I made a point of watching it a couple of times and getting the idea of what that choreographer had done with shapes and formations. But then I was like, I don't want to see it anymore. I now need to just think, how do I make that me?
Yeah.
But that, just from a random scroll, that started my whole routine. I'm also always inspired by my team members. I think as soon as you think, I've mentioned this before, as soon as you think you are the best at something and there's no room for improvement, I think that's a very, very dangerous path. Yeah,
but I mean, the arts by their very nature, you can't ever be the best at something because there is really no way to grade you on it.
No.
You can be subjectively the best. Like you can have opinion. A majority of people's opinions say that you're good at something, which I guess is a subjective judgment that you're good at it. But objectively, you can't be the best.
No, I'm talking more about teaching though.
Oh, I see, right.
So rather than performing, I'm talking about teaching. So for me, if you look at, say, our team, you've got 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds, then you've got me and Mel, who are a bit older than that. So I am inspired by all of them in different ways. Like, I'll watch them, and I know me and Mel have this conversation all the time. She's so sweet, bless her. She'll always say, oh, I learn from you every day. And every time she says it, I go, but I learn from you, because we are so different. But there's little sort of teaching techniques, or even like our relationships with our students and our teaching styles and all stuff like that, that I go, I don't necessarily go, oh, I'm going to do that. But subconsciously, again, I learn from her, and then I see Lucy and Mia and Molly, who are younger. And so I think I think if you go searching for it,
it's hard to find.
Really hard to
Impossible
find. You just got to have an open mind and find.
Be aware of your surroundings.
100.
Yeah.
Sit in on this is going to sound like I'm telling Lucy, it's not, but like if you are a teacher in a dance school, sit in on other people's lessons. Or if you are, I'm trying to think of like other examples, but observing is so valuable. I'm also so inspired by Strictly.
Yeah.
Even though that's so far from from the styles we teach. Whenever they do their professional dances, I'm always like, oh.
There's usually one every series, isn't there, that you show me that you're like, that is so, like, you've been really inspired by it. There was one the other day and they used dancers that I would argue were even more talented than the professional dancers.
Well, there was different styles. They brought in 5.
Maybe it's just because it's styles of dance that I'm more interested in.
Oh my God, like that guy that was like spinning around all over the place.
I was watching him just like, that's like unbelievable talent in that guy, and the rest of them too. And that was the routine that inspired you the most this year.
Yeah, but I enjoy. But I don't sit and go, oh, like get my notepad out. It's Strictly. I'm gonna get inspired. I'm gonna write. I don't. That's what I mean. That's the difference.
It's a feeling,
I
isn't
watch
it?
Strictly anyway because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But then as I'm watching, I might go, oh, we've sat and watched it together before. And then all of a sudden you're like, I know what you should do for lyrical. And it's nothing like what we just watched, but it sparked something in you to go, listen to this song.
Actually, that's a really interesting thing. Like the other day, we sat for ages trying to think of the video idea. And you've got all of us in a room like firing out different things. And
when you say video idea, for people who are like, what's he talking about?
Oh, for the opening video for the next show.
Yeah.
Which has become like a thing that I really try and make better.
You put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I know, but it's something I've always loved. Like it gives me an opportunity to make something for everybody that is another opportunity to inspire people. So everyone was firing ideas out, and I loved everybody's ideas, and we were getting somewhere, but I was like, it's just not quite right. There's not like a definitive reason for it, and it doesn't fit with the overall theme of the show that we've come up with. So then I left that meeting, and driving home, I don't even know. Oh yeah, it was randomly. You know how Spotify just keeps spitting out songs? When you get to the end of your playlist, it will just keep spitting out suggested songs. And a song came on, and I was just like,
that's it.
I'm not going to say anything because I want to keep this a total surprise for everybody. But the song came on, and I was just like, yes, this is the song. And it went with everything. It basically pieced together everybody's ideas that they'd thrown into the ring, and it all started clicking into place in my head. And I was like, that's how we can have Lucy's idea. That's how we can have Rachel's idea. That's how we can have Mia's idea, or whatever. Like everybody's ideas can be slotted in and form a cohesive piece. And it's so funny how things like that happen when you're not even expecting it.
I just think we're very lucky. I do feel very blessed that our jobs are being surrounded by other creatives, because it's such a special thing where you just all kind of, our crazy creative brains just sort of all get mushed together. And
it's so much fun as well.
It's so much fun. Creating stuff is just, just grateful that this is our job.
Yeah, so what are we talking about? Oh,
that was
the
Lucy's question. I think we answered that.
Yeah, in a roundabout way.
If you still listen.
Yeah, so just find inspiration in everyday life.
Don't go looking for it though. Just have an open mind.
Don't look for it. It will find you.
We're going to put that one out on socials. We've not had a question for a while come out of there. I would love to know what's been people's biggest inspirations, or where they find it, or where it finds them,
or a moment recently where they found inspiration for something, and if it came out of nowhere, that'd be really interesting.
How funny. Inspiration. I think I would like to read out some other people's Inspiry Diaries next week. Yeah. So get your diary entries in, everybody. We'll put it all over our socials. Shaun will, every single day between now and next Wednesday.
whatwasimadeforpod@gmail.com. Send it in. I'm just going to agree with you. Yeah, I'll do that.
Every single day next week.
Yeah.
That little box you put up on Instagram.
Every single day except for this weekend, because it's my brother's wedding, so probably not the weekend.
Okay, Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. Instead of right back at you today, just to give everyone a laugh,
I'll tell the story.
Tell them.
Oh, yeah. So...
embarrassing moment of the week.
Yeah, so sometimes if I'm in a rush, but I need to have a shave, then I end up just slicing my face up.
It's happened a lot recently. I
Yeah,
did say
because
to you,
I'll
do
be
you
like,
know how to
I'll
do
be
it?
about to walk out the door and I'll be like, oh no, I haven't shaved. I look proper like.
Proper beard.
Shut up. I am not blessed with the genes to grow a full beard. Cheers, Dad. And
so you just look a bit George, don't you?
Yeah, get a bit George around here. Get a bit of the old goatee like David Brent going on. So I have to shave fairly regularly to keep this devilishly youthful look I've got going on. So if I'm running out the door and I haven't shaved, I'm like, oh no, I need to go and quickly shave. So I'll just basically hold a towel of hot water on my face for like 10 seconds, which is definitely not enough, and then just whack away at my face for a bit. And the other day I came out and it was bad, wasn't it?
You come down looking like you've fallen into like a box of those polystyrene peanuts.
I don't know if anyone's seen Jumanji, where Robin Williams comes out of the bathroom after shaving. First time he comes out of the jungle. No, not seen that.
Not.
And the girl in it goes, "What do you shave with, a piece of glass?" That's like me.
Yeah.
And I had all the tissue paper squares all over my face, like maybe 7 or 8 of them. And because I was rushing out the door I don't know where I was going. Rushed out the door and walked to the car with all my stuff, and a lovely neighbour who I don't see that often, but we know them through their dog, and the dog and Nala have played together many times. So you don't know them well enough for it to be a joke. You just know them a bit for them to think you're weird. I had forgotten to take all of the tissue paper squares off my face.
And you didn't know they were on there.
And I forgot they were on there. So I walked past them like, "You all right, guys? How's it going?" And I thought they looked at me funny. And they was like, yeah, good, thanks, mate. And they sort of like scuttled off like quite quickly. As I walked away from them,
you realised.
I realised, and I just thought, shit. I have tissue paper all over my face.
You came back through the door because you must. I'm imagining that you then quickly just sort of like fluffed your face because you came in and there wasn't any on.
No, because think about it. If any other neighbour on the street is looking out their window at that very moment and they see me doing that, they'll see that I'm embarrassed about it. So I just left them on.
But then when you came back in the house, they were gone. And
I did it in the car.
Right, because you kind of shut the door behind you and you just stood there looking at me, and I was like, "Are you all right?" You were like, just saw Joe and Lara, and I was
his
like,
wife.
And his wife, and I was like, "Oh, lovely. Are they okay?" You were like, "Yep." Had a load of tissue paper on my face, didn't I? And I was like, "No!"
Oh God, it was a lot as well. And then so I got into the car and I just quickly like took it all off, and then went back in to see Rach, and it's just one of those moments where you're just like,
Why?
It's not even that big. Maybe I'm that sort of guy that I'm just like, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm just gonna like keep the toilet paper on my face.
Is it normal that sometimes I'm like walking in the street and I suddenly go, "Have I got trousers on?" Have you ever done that?
No, Rachel.
I think it's in the cold weather.
The easiest way to tell, just look down.
No, I know. It's just a split second. I'm not saying it's like, "Oh God, how will I know?" But just for a split second, often I'm like, imagine if I was just naked from the waist down accidentally.
That's a very irrational thought.
Okay.
No, I've never. Interesting,
I did
though.
think that you
I'd love to know.
Been like, no.
Guarantee you, though, this seems to be happening all the time. But someone will just message you and just be like, "Me too."
Oh yeah, can I just say how many people I have now diagnosed with the non-burp syndrome who have come up to me? Becca, who else? Random people have been like, Claire messaged. Mm-hmm. I've got that. So you're welcome, everyone. Happy Diagnosis Day. I feel for you.
Now you just know all of those people are going to be bloated over Christmas.
You have support, and I'll be thinking of you when I'm sat in my elasticated waistband straight after Christmas dinner, gurgling away.
All just going.
All day long.
Little dinosaur burps.
Thanks for sharing that story. I hope that brought a smile to some people's faces. Do you want to read out your...
Yeah.
Take this with you.
This is a take this with you I found. It's called A Group of Frogs.
Oh, we've gone from elephants to frogs.
Yeah, it's called Encouragement. As a group of frogs were travelling through the woods, 2 of them fell into a deep pit. When the other frogs crowded around the pit and saw how deep it was, they told the 2 frogs that there was no hope left for them.
Oh.
However, the two frogs decided to ignore what the others were saying and they proceeded to try and jump out of the pit.
Okay, good.
Despite their efforts, the group of frogs at the top of the pit were still saying that they should give up, that they would never make it out. Eventually, one of the frogs took heed to what the others were saying and he gave up, falling down to his death. Sorry, I think I read a different version of this earlier.
Are you
That's
joking?
dark.
This is not inspiring at all. I want to cry.
Sorry, that's a curveball. I wasn't expecting that at all. Falling down to his death. Jesus. The other frog.
Oh, I'm thinking of Bertie.
I'm sorry. The other frog continued to jump as hard as he could. Again, the crowd of frogs yelled at him to stop the pain and just die.
Sean, what the hell is this?
This is not the version I read earlier today. My God, this is so horrible.
Harsh.
Anyway, he jumped.
Oh my God, did you hear that?
We might have caught that.
That's my coffee.
That's your burp. Anyway, he jumped even harder and finally made it out.
Oh, thank
When
God.
he got out, the other frog said, "Did you not hear us telling you to die?" The frog explained to them, signed to them, that he was deaf.
Oh.
He thought they were cheering him on the entire time.
Oh my God. I just love it. So he span it around because he didn't know.
Yeah.
He was
And the moral of the story is, so this is the one I actually read earlier. It's nothing about falling to death and dying and all that. So apologies for that.
Do you want to keep that or do you want to read the...
No. That's funny though. Let's leave it as it is. Moral of the story is people's words can have a huge effect on the lives of others. Therefore, you should think about what you're going to say before it comes out of your mouth. It might just be the difference between life and death, which is a bit extreme. We're not all, that is a bit extreme.
That's quite... it's not, but it's
I genuinely think
deep.
The moral of the story, is one, to not listen to others, but because if the other froggy had not listened to the others, then he would have made it out as well.
Yeah.
In this hypothetical story.
Yeah, there's definitely some positivity in that very dramatic froggy story.
Honestly, when I read it this morning, it was just like the other frog just chose not to and just sort of sat and watched.
Yeah.
That he felt his death is crazy.
But it's true. Like, I always think, we say this a lot, but people who do have a lot to say to try and tear people down, if I know it's easier said than done, and I would go as far to say almost every single person, probably from teenage upwards, has had someone say something not nice about them or about their work.
And is probably guilty of saying something they regret.
True. But I'm talking about the extreme here, if you're somebody who has put something out there and got a lot of backlash potentially, if you can try your hardest to spin it and feel incredibly sorry for the people who are saying those things, because to me, you've got to not be 100% happy in your life to want to make other people feel rubbish.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of anyone I know who is truly, truly happy in their life that would then say something horrible about someone else, and they just wouldn't, because they're content. So I always think if somebody has got something horrible to say, it probably means, it doesn't make it okay, I'm not excusing it, but it probably does mean that they're not 100% happy with their life choices, what's going on in their life or anything else. So if you can try and spin it around on them to feel sorry for them, that's their outlet, is to tear somebody else down. It might just make you go, it really is irrelevant to me, and what people think of me is none of my business. That's what I take from it. Those frogs were clearly really unhappy in their lives.
They were really unhappy. Well, they were just saying, just give up, mate. Look at you in your pit. You got.
But that is like
no hope,
is like people who be like, don't put another dance video out, don't put another singing video out, don't release music, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Just yours involved a lot of frog death.
Yeah, sorry about the frog death in that.
But it's made me think about Bertie
disclaimer on this
I've not thought about Bertie in a while. In fact, lovely James Parrish, he's who is one of our senior students who helps with our junior class.
Yeah.
Most weeks that I see him, he's still cracking up about your reaction to Bertie.
He said that to me the other day.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad that it brings a smile to your face, James.
So anyway, that brings us to the end of another episode of What Was I Made For? Thank you so much for listening this week, and apologies again for last week. Blame her.
Sorry, but those antibiotics, I can feel them working.
Just don't do
Ouch. that. So we will see you again next week. But until then, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media channels.
What Was I Made For pod?
Send us an email to...
With the new Inspiry Diary thing.
To...
whatwasimadeforpod@gmail.com.
And we would like your Inspiry Diary entries to read out next week, please, or answering Lucy's question, where do you find inspiration and how do you stay motivated? I think it was that.
I think it's how do you find it and keep it.
Keep it, that's right. Thank you once more. We will see you again next week when we try to answer the question,
What was I made for?
Bye.
Bye-bye.